I think we'll have a big vote on the CR. We don't want to shut the government down. That's in no one's best interest. So we were negotiating in good faith, trying to do separate appropriations bills, but the Democrats decided to put kind of ridiculous conditions on the last counter offers over the last couple of weeks.
Senator Graham said that in his meeting he discussed with Elon Musk that they should come up with a rescission package from the White House to implement all these DOGE cuts. Did that come up in your meetings?
Yeah, we've talked about that because most of this will be part of the FY26 budgeting process and the appropriations. And if there are savings and things that relate to FY25, and we have already passed the CR, then yes, of course, you'll have rescissions.
House Speaker Mike Johnson vowing to keep the government funded and open ahead of the March 14th potential shutdown deadline. President Trump met with the House Freedom Caucus yesterday and urged them to get behind the plan to keep spending levels consistent through September 30th. But Senate Majority Leader John Thune will not bring the House budget blueprint to a vote before the mid-March break. Several committee chairs reportedly pushing to rewrite the Senate's budget entirely. Joining me now is former House Speaker and Alpha Institute Chairman Kevin McCarthy. Speaker McCarthy, great to see you. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thanks for having me back on, Maria.
So what do you think about all of this? You've got one plan in the House, the one big, beautiful bill with all of President Trump's items in there and his agenda. You've got a two-track session in the Senate. Where's this going? You've been down this road so many times.
Well, this is a unique situation that you have when you control the House, the Senate, and the White House, that you can take care of the tax bill without having to have 60 votes in the Senate. So you want to make sure you get it right. So I give credit to both houses. One, Jason Smith and the Speaker did a tremendous job to push that bill and get that through. That was a difficult job. The Senate has done an amazing job, but the Senate, for the first time in modern history, has a larger majority than the House. It's like any other bill. Each body passes one, then finds common ground. It has to be exactly the same. So they'll go to conference. They'll figure this out. I think the Senate, following what the House has done, would be very smart because you get the tax bill done and get everything that the president needs done.
Well, Newt Gingrich was with me this week, and he said, look, this bill, if you're going to wait for tax cuts and the tax extensions to be written, it has to be done by July 4th. It's got to be on the president's desk as soon as possible, because if not, it's going to impact the economy and it's going to impact the midterm elections. Is that doable?
Yeah, that's very doable. All you have to have is the willpower. There's so much going on. I mean, the president has done a tremendous job. You watched that State of the Union, how powerful that was.
Yeah.
Simply reading off those cuts of where money was going and the way the Democrats reacted. I've never watched. Look, I had been on the other end before where you're sitting in the minority and there's a president you didn't vote for. We never backed away from following that president down the aisle. They're the president of the United States. The election is over. That was an embarrassing movement by the Democrats. It's almost they have no leadership over there right now.
Well, is that the issue? Because it was ridiculous. They come up wearing these pink jackets, claiming that they're for women, but then they don't want the president to move forward with his order that boys cannot play in girls' sports. So how are you protecting women?
There's a huge void of leadership on the Democratic side. I don't know what Hakeem is doing. He's not staking any ground out, not standing up for a child that fought cancer for 6 years. What leadership is that?
Yeah.
Not following the president down the aisle. What leadership is that? And what they're doing is they're trying to walk the government into a shutdown. This is where President Trump has been such a powerful leader. He is the president, he's the speaker, he's the whip inside the House. I mean, this is tremendous what he is able to do. That Freedom Caucus, if just one or two members decide to vote no, they put the power in the hands of the Democrats. If the Republicans have this majority, they need to be able to govern. And that you can't have one or two members falling off the other way and making it more difficult to get that agenda through. If you want to be able to see government be more efficient, eliminate this waste and get the accountability back, they all have to work together.
Well, the House could vote today on a censure resolution against Texas Congressman Al Green. You saw what he did. He disrupted President Trump's joint address to Congress Tuesday night. Green is not apologizing. He even won't say that he won't do it again. He says he could do it again. Pennsylvania Senator, even John Fetterman, a Democrat, slamming the Democrats' behavior, writing this on X, a sad cavalcade of self-owns and unhinged petulance. It only makes Trump look more presidential and restrained. We're becoming the metaphorical car alarms that nobody pays attention to, and it may not be the winning message. Kevin, what do you think?
I think Senator Fetterman is right.
Yeah.
I mean, it made the Democrats look much worse. And you've got to understand what Green does. Green was the very first person to make a motion to impeach President Trump his first time out. He raises money off this. This is all he ever does. It was all about himself. It made the rest of the Democrats look bad. And he will earn that censure if it gets voted on today.
Yeah, I'm with Tiana Lowe-Desher from the Washington Examiner this morning, Kevin. Go ahead, Tiana, jump in.
With this razor-thin House margin, it's crucial to focus on the fiscal impacts on the stock market, investor unsettlement, if TCJA extension, and if the budget, if all this remains up in the air. But what about the political calculus as the year goes on? Because Democrats know that if TCJA does not get extended, and that's a tax hike on 62% of households going into a midterm election year. Is this part of the reason for the rush why Jason Smith is saying he wants the budget or the tax bill on the president's desk by Memorial Day?
Yeah, the chairman of Ways and Means, Jason Smith, has been a true leader in all of this. He's the one that actually said, we need to pass one bill. And I think the president agreed with him early on. Because remember, Article 1, Section 7 of the Constitution, all tax reform starts in the House. This is the most critical thing that they need to get done and get it done now. Jason has been moving this bill along quite rapidly. And remember, you've got to fix SALT, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime or Social Security. That takes a little more resources to be able to plan that through. And such a small majority to be able to get that bill up and out, they need to focus on that now. And the Democrats just showed by the State of the Union, they want to disrupt everything.
Yep.
They don't want to participate at all. So if at some time in March 14th, this government gets shut down, it is on the Democrats that is what they are doing.
Well, what do you make of the tariffs, Kevin? Because the market's been selling off. You know that. We're watching the stock market down again this morning. The president usually looks at the stock market. Do you think he cares this time around? Because his ultimate goal is to get corporate America to make it here. And he's using tariffs to do that. In many cases, it's working. But investors are real uneasy.
Yeah, they are. It takes time to maneuver. And this is the uniqueness of President Trump. He only has 4 years, so he can't wait around. That's why he's moving more rapidly. And your earlier guest made a very good point. If this was moving through legislatively, you have time to absorb and look through it. But Congress hasn't been able to act, so the president is taking a lot of these actions, so it's happening faster and the information's moving faster. But you've got to give a lot of these companies, because the president was so successful in his first term, a lot of these companies moved out of China, but they moved into other countries. And remember, we have an agreement with Mexico and Canada, so they had a position why they were in these other countries as well, building in America as well. You've got to give them flexibility to move, especially when it comes to a car company or other that are dealing with parts, to be able to make that transition. And a lot of them are. You look at how much investment after President Trump got elected, all this new investment from Apple, Tim Cook coming in. But that takes time to be able to move those jobs in, and so you got to give them some flexibility.
Yeah, and I guess that's what this automotive reprieve is about this morning. What do you make of California Governor Gavin Newsom? I mean, finally ordering state employees to return to the office 4 days a week, rolling back a pandemic-era order, which required at least 2 work days a week. It will take effect on July 1st. This happens as Newsom is launching a new podcast aiming to interview prominent Republicans. Kevin, I mean, you know, California's on fire. So many people have lost everything. And this guy says he's got to change the conversation in a podcast.
Why doesn't he just leave office and go to Hollywood? That's all he's ever cared about. I mean, he has mismanaged California so poorly that for the first time in our history, we actually lost seats in Congress because our population dropped. More people leave than actually come in, and he punishes the people here. You've watched the mismanagement of the state, from the fires, from the homelessness. People, it's how you feel in California. It used to be the Golden State. But this is the power of President Trump. Not only did he become president, but he has changed these Democrats' positions. You look at the mayor of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They're now finding out they've made some big mistakes. They better correct themselves before they go. And it's just, I thought, one of the most powerful things President Trump did in that State of the Union. He proved you don't need new legislation, especially when it comes to the border. You just need leadership. And he's showing it every day that even Democrats are waking up and changing their behavior.
Yeah, I love the idea that you didn't need new legislation. You just need needed a new president, right? And that's what President Trump said. Let me ask you about California, because I have some friends who think California can go red. I mean, look, you were elected over and over and over and over again in California, but we know that this is one of the bluest of all blue states. But now they're seeing the policy decisions destroy their lives. Certainly, when you look at the wildfires, do you think California could go red, Kevin?
Look, I always believed in California. As a leader, I always gained seats for Congress. Nancy Pelosi always lost. She lost the speakership. I became leader. We took 5 seats. Now, unfortunately, in this latest election, we lost congressional seats. It's still very difficult to win. An interesting little fact, because Gavin has pushed so many people out and so many conservatives, Nevada can go Republican from the Californians who have left and moved over to Nevada because the tax policy is better.
Oh, wow. So, that's interesting.
But I never give up. I think there's going to be a shift, probably like a mayor of L.A. and other positions, because they have watched the mismanagement, that you'll find some of these Democrats are saying, look, the wildfires, the homelessness, and others.
Exactly.
But it's still difficult to win statewide.
All right. We will leave it there. Former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. Great to see you, Speaker. Thank you.